This is the Wrestling Replay. Welcome to episode number 36, AEW's All Out pay-per-view. What a way to really cap off our weekend, our Labor Day wrestling weekend, that is. Two big events on the weekend. This was the second one, WWE Clash at the Castle being the first. But let's go ahead and jump into this card. Now, before we really get started, I didn't get to see the card or the pay-per-view in its entirety. So I got to see it at bits and pieces. I did get to see the Eddie Kingston and Ishii match with Eddie Kingston going over. I thought that was the right move. I thought that was the right play. And honestly, I feel like Eddie Kingston is somebody they really need to start building back towards a title opportunity, whether that's the TBS Championship or the AEW World Championship. I feel like he's one of those guys in your singles competition right now, singles division, I guess you would say, that really has it all together, really has the fans behind him, backing him. And I think someone like that being your champion, it really would identify with like the blue collar people. It really would identify with the fans who love to see somebody go out there and deliver all blood, guts, and glory and just have passion inside that ring. And I think Eddie Kingston embodies that. So I would love to see him go after a singles competition soon. We will see the Joker go on to win that chip at the All Out pay-per-view. Now that chip will now unlock that opportunity to go against the AEW World Championship. And we will find out who that person will be later on in the night. But let's go ahead and jump into the Elite defeating the Dark Order like I predicted for that Trios Tag Team Championship. That was a really good, entertaining matchup. Nothing that we didn't think we was going to get between these six guys. And at the end of the day, the Trios Championship going on the Elite, Eddie Kingston coming back, Kenny Omega coming back, it just makes all the sense in the world. We also seen Jade Cargill. She defended her title against Athena. That match was okay, and for it to take so long, for them to build that storyline so long, I feel like it took months. And for it to cap off with a match like that, it was like, the story wasn't too good leading up to it. And I thought they should have fought a while ago. And now for you to cap it off at the pay-per-view with this matchup, it was okay. It was an okay matchup. It kind of slowed down the action a little bit, but it picked right back up with the Wardlow and FTR defeating Jay Lethal and the Motor City Machine Guns. That was a really good matchup. Nothing more than I would expect between the Motor City Machine Guns, Jay Lethal having all the chemistry in the world. You got FTR, one of the best tag teams in the world, and you have Wardlow, who's absolutely over right now with the fans. That was a really good matchup. We got to see Powerhouse Hobbs. He defeated Ricky Starks. I like to see Powerhouse Hobbs getting that win because what that did was actually put him on track to now start climbing up the rankings and now to start putting him on the map as someone who could possibly challenge for a championship later on down the line. Swerve in Our Glory in the Acclaim. That was one of my favorite matches on the night. AEW just continues to have great tag team wrestling. I don't really like how this match came along with Swerve in the Glory in the Acclaim, where, Strickland and Lee kind of just gave these guys an opportunity, gave these guys a shot. But the matchup in itself, for one, Swerve and Keith Lee, they constantly get better. Their chemistry inside the ring as tag teams just continue to improve week in and week out. I love to see how these guys are growing together. I think this may be a new lane for both of these guys to continue on in their future in wrestling, actually. I feel like these guys can go anywhere and be great singles competitors, but together they have now kind of formed a unit that is actually pretty good, dope to watch. It's that powerhouse with that athletic, agility, high-flying type of guy, but Keith Lee has a very unique skill set because he's very athletic for a big man, and Strickland has a very unique skill set because he doesn't move like the average luchador. Even his moves just around the ring, the way he gets out, the way he gets in, the way he gets to the top rope, it's just different. I like how these two styles perfectly blended together, so whoever the idea was to put these guys together is working. It's definitely clicking. In the Acclaim, these guys are well on their way. They're going to absolutely hold AEW Championship gold at some point in their future. These guys are on the right track, very entertaining inside and outside the ring, so you can't ask for much more. AEW Tag Team Wrestling is still the best at this moment. Now, we also seen the new interim AEW's Women's Champion being crowned. Tony Storm, which I absolutely love because of the story that can already be set. The tag team chemistry with Thunder Rosa. Now you have these two women have to go against each other one-on-one. That tag team has to get split up for just a moment. They know each other inside and out for hanging together for so long, tag team wrestling for so long. So it's going to take a little bit more than just you going in with your average game plan to defeat each other, because you got to throw a little curveball, because Tony's going to know what's coming and Thunder's going to know what's coming. So I like this between the two. And this will also be their second time wrestling each other one-on-one, along with being tag team competitors at the moment as well. We also seen Jungle Boy. He came up a little short against Christian Cage. That match really didn't do it for me. Didn't do it for me at all. But the one thing I did like from the whole situation is Jungle Boy making the triple turn, I guess that's what it would be, attacking Jungle Boy, and now we get that heel Luchasaurus like I wanted to see in the first place. I liked how he looked when he came out with Christian Cage. I thought he was very dominant, and now you just have another person who is building on to that singles division, who can make claims for being a champion. He has all the tools, he has the look, so who knows what's going to happen next for Luchasaurus? The sky's the limit for that guy. I really like Luchasaurus being in that heel role. So we're probably going to get Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus going forward, but someone will probably have to come forward to either partner up or team up with Jungle Boy to now take out the lights of Christian Cage, who is sure is still a nemesis. And now his new nemesis, his ex-best friend, you know that old storyline, the ex-best friend storyline, Luchasaurus. So it's going to be interesting now. Now that's a storyline that I'm actually tuned into, and I want to see how it happens and how it plays out. We will also get a great matchup between Chris Jericho and Bryan Danielson. You got the old school Lionheart Chris Jericho, even coming out rocking some of his old tights. That was pretty dope. He would pick up the win. Now to the dislike of Daniel Garcia, Chris Jericho did have to use some underhanded tactics to assure and lock in his victory against Bryan Danielson with the low blow before he hit that Judas effect. But, hey, either or, I don't care who came out on top of the situation, but I hope that this pushes Garcia kind of away from Jericho at some point, man. Just get away, because that's a young talent that I would love to see be on his own and see how he grow and flourishes inside of the AEW roster, or the locker room, I should say. We also seen the House of Black. They came up short against Sting, Miro, and Darby Allin, which I really don't like, because the House of Black is supposed to be a unit. They're supposed to be one. The chemistry should be like top notch. They should be on the level of the elite. You know what I'm saying? And for you to have three guys that kind of just got thrown together, well, outside of Sting and Darby Allin, but three guys who never teamed up before to kind of go into the situation and just win the matchup. And it wasn't as entertaining as I thought it would be. I just felt like the House of Black is such a cool faction. They're all talented in their own rights. I would really like to see this trio start to really notch together some wins, so they could start to go after that, triple tag team championship, or at least build one of them the momentum to go after some type of championship. You got three talented guys, and you're trying to tell me the only one who received the title shot was Brody King, but he came up short, and it was no build to his championship shot against Jon Moxley anyway. So it's like, what are we really doing here with these guys who are uber talented? I hate to see them just being booked to put on good matches, but not booked to really do anything or advance in AEW in any way. Now in our main event, we got CM Punk versus Jon Moxley. Once again, the rematch for the AEW Championship. We seen this matchup happen about 2 weeks ago on AEW Dynamite. CM Punk in that matchup could not continue. Jon Moxley won in 3 minutes. He had to get carried up to the back because his foot went out again. Now in 2 weeks time, somehow his foot is great enough to go and compete with a guy like Jon Moxley. Not just compete, but win the AEW Championship back. So you mean to tell me that you let him lose the championship only to regain the championship in 2 weeks time in front of the Chicago crowd? And this is what I don't like about the booking. You have guys who can put together great storylines in Jon Moxley and CM Punk. It was no reason for CM Punk to come out there and lose that matchup. Absolutely no reason. I would have preferred for CM Punk to go out there 2 weeks ago and have a warm-up match with anyone, and then the same situation happens to the point that he says, oh man, my foot went out during the matchup. I don't know how I'll be able to compete against Jon Moxley at All Out. So the week leading up to the pay-per-view, instead of having these guys do a little face-off or Jon Moxley come and drop the open contract, what could happen is CM Punk kind of comes out and say, you know what, I won't be able to go. I don't think I'll be 100%. And that's when he makes the turn to cheer or rally behind that Chicago crowd and then say, you know what, guys, I'm going to fight. I'm going to fight for you. I'm from Chicago. We're going to get this done one way or another at All Out. Jon Moxley, me and you, one-on-one fight, whatever, Chicago street fight, however you want to do it. I don't care. But this booking by him losing, they're coming back in 2 weeks' time with this busted up foot. Jon Moxley, I don't get it. It's kind of like you put Jon Moxley on the shelf just to get a little cheap CM Punk pop in Chicago, but that pop get overshadowed by the Masked Man coming out and revealing himself as MJF. Now you get the crowd in Chicago go from chanting CM Punk to chanting MJF in your hometown. And now, honestly, I don't see how you don't put the title onto MJF at this point. So the way I'm looking at it is, man, you should have just let Jon Moxley go over in Chicago. CM Punk has an out. He doesn't have a foot that's 100% right now, so him losing the matchup again would still make sense. And with MJF coming back, what could happen is now you get Jon Moxley versus MJF. I understand that we want to build towards CM Punk and MJF because that was the storyline that we started months ago, but that storyline can still be played out. It's just long-term booking, guys, long-term storytelling, where we could have had MJF take the title off of Moxley in 3 weeks or 3 months later when Punk is really 100% and that foot is really back together. Then he go challenge MJF. And where should that pay-per-view take place? New York City, in front of his hometown. That's where it should take place. But, we get this. Okay, cool. Now let's go with it. You got MJF being chanted by the crowd in Chicago. How is CM Punk supposed to feel when you let your babyface get overshadowed by the heel that everyone is supposed to hate, and now they love because MJF is playing an in-betweener role? I knew this would happen. I knew it would happen. I was hoping that MJF would just take the spot of CM Punk in this pay-per-view and we could roll with that momentum like that. But you coming out, Stokely getting the ship, and now the chip is on MJF, and now he's part of the Stokely crew. You got someone like Moxley who can go and be that protector behind MJF, better than Wardlow was. It's inevitable that you put this title on MJF. It's just like we see the story before you even really get to write the story or really let the story play out. You leave little to the imagination of the fans. This pay-per-view as a whole was okay. The action inside the ring, of course, good matches, really good matches, but you also had some okay matches. And then the storylines leading up to a lot of these matches really didn't make sense. Or I really didn't like how it was put together. I feel like you just kind of told me and I seen exactly what the play was going to be. But now, outside of the pay-per-view, let's talk about the post-interview event that took place. I didn't get to see that, but from everything I read, so I will say these are rumors right now. The Elite, Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks really didn't like what CM Punk had to say after the pay-per-view. CM Punk pretty much said, kind of echoed the same feelings I feel. Why would you let your babyface, your ultra babyface of the company kind of be overshadowed, essentially? I assume he was talking about himself. I'm pretty sure he wasn't talking about Jon Moxley. And then he started to make comments about EVPs, who is the Elite, who was Cody Rhodes. So it's like, at this point, if the Elite is threatening to walk out of AEW because of CM Punk being in AEW, it's only but so long that you can say that CM Punk isn't the issue in the locker room. And it's only but so long you can look at CM Punk in WWE and kind of figure why they never brung CM Punk back to WWE. He just wasn't worth the headache. And now AEW has to deal with that headache that is CM Punk. If this is true, if this is truly how the Elite felt like we should actually walk out and leave AEW where it's at. And I'm going to tell you right now, you cannot afford for the Elite to leave AEW right now. Absolutely cannot. Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly's on the shelf. You really only have one person that's built up for that AEW championship. You let Jon Moxley beat up everybody else. After MJF, I don't know where you're going to go. I don't really see anyone that you're building. So hopefully these are just rumors, and hopefully maybe the Elite didn't show up to the post interview because of some other reasons. Who knows? But I'm just saying, if CM Punk is a cancer to your locker room, you got to let CM Punk go. The pop was great. What he did for AEW in the tenure of him being there was absolutely great. It was a good boost to the company. But nah, it's not worth any of the issues. It's not worth you risking some of your better talent threatening to leave or feeling unhappy or feeling unappreciated inside that locker room. I'm going to just say it like that. But all in all, All Out was an okay pay-per-view. It was all right. I'm going to have to go back and watch it all in its entirety because at least I did order it so I can go back and watch. But from the matches I've seen, most of them was actually pretty good, and with the exception of a few. I was like, but I want to watch it clean through to see how the program actually flows, because that's important also. But the storytelling in AEW, you have to get better. You have to do better, and you have the pieces to do better. So I think you guys can. If you start to put together some great storylines behind the talent that you have on that roster, the matches in the ring is already going to be exceptional. If you tell a good story behind it, it's just going to put it above everything else that's going on right now in the wrestling world. All right, but that's pretty much my view on All Out, the pay-per-view. Decent pay-per-view. Let me know what you all think in the comment section down below. Make sure you're following us on Instagram at The Wrestling Replay, and we can chat a little bit more about the pay-per-view over there if you prefer. Either way is fine with me. If you like what you see, like what you heard, make sure you hit that like, subscribe, and turn your notifications. I'm Cato. I'll see you all back here Monday for WWE's Monday Night Raw. Alright, hope you guys enjoyed your Labor Day. Peace.